to the Odd Dad Out podcast, where I am currently driving home. If you're new to the show, this is the show where I normally ramble and rant, and I talk about what's going on in my life with marriage stuff and parenting stuff, and which mostly consists of me bitching about my kids and my wife, because you know what, sometimes you just have to bitch about your kids and your wife. And I'll talk about other podcasts and things I'm listening to and stuff I'm doing, and again ramble and rant and just dump my head in all of the crap that just whatever the hell I'm thinking of, expressing this to you. Well, right now that's different. And again, if you're new to the show right now, probably not a good time to jump in. You should probably jump back a few episodes, get a taste for a normal episode. Right now, I am driving home from work. It's around 4 in the morning, and I am doing this on my phone, into my headset, not in my normal studio with, my nice happy equipment and my nice happy microphones and things like that, and all my nice happy software that makes me sound all spiffy. I don't have any of that. You may have also noticed I don't have my normal music, because again, I'm on the phone. Okay, enough about the being on the phone. I missed you. Long story short, the reason why I'm doing this and the reason why I'm recording this way and doing this right now tonight, this morning, however you want to time it, is just because I miss podcasting. And this whole pandemic, corona, lockdown, all of the stuff has basically kept me from being able to it's kept me away from you. It has kept me from being able to talk to you and share my stories and my random bullshit and keep you updated on all the bullshit that's going on with me. And oddly enough, in the world of corona, in the pandemic lockdown world right now, I've actually had a lot of shit going on, which I will get to, and I'm honestly I'm going to be I'm going to say it now. I'm saving shit up to share, because right now we're doing a lot of stuff, and the gist of it is that with everything that happened, well, my life didn't change much. I've mentioned before that my job, I work overnights. I am a commercial cleaner. I don't know how much I actually talk about what I do for my normal job, but my regular job, I'm a commercial cleaner. Well, in a time where everyone's concerned about germs and things, we're really busy. We have whole teams of people that are out, disinfecting buildings and things like that. Our entire janitorial division has been super busy. Excuse me if I'm yawning and I can't edit anything. Oh my god, I can't edit you. This is like one of those most raw shit ever. Going old school. But, yeah, we've been really busy. And I've been working some long ass nights, a lot of, 10 plus hour nights, getting home at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. And so I've just been generally tired. Throw that into schools are closed, so my boys are all at home, and we're doing the whole distance learning. We're doing that whole thing. And, oh yeah, my wife is working from home too. Hence why I haven't had access to my studio. Because my studio is my office. Well, when your wife has to work from home, and she works normal human hours. My wife works, a standard 9 to 5, or in her case, 8 to 4:30. So, from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, my office is tied up. Well, come 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, I gotta be at work. So, I really don't have the time to record a podcast. I don't have the time, I don't have access to my stuff. My computer is actually sitting pretty much shut down right now. My whole rig is just sitting because, well, she needed the desk space. my wife's rig and her setup for her to be able to work from home is much more elaborate and more complicated. And she's got 2 giant monitors and all this stuff, and it takes up a lot more space on my desk than my own stuff. And so I just can't. I don't have room for my stuff. My monitor got moved out of the way. All my stuff is off my desk. But the only thing of mine that's still currently sitting on my desk in normal use is the boom arm and my microphone, because they're bolted to the desk and you can just swing them out of the way. But other than that, all my stuff is cleared out, so I haven't been able to, I don't have access to my studio. And yeah, I could do other things, and I could go and I could grab one of our laptops and grab a microphone and plug in and find a closet or something around the house. But I still don't have the time, because I've been dealing with boys and school and distance learning, homeschool. It's just fucking homeschool, people. Why'd they have? I don't know why they had to make a new word for this. Distance learning. It's distance learning. It's fucking homeschool, okay? Like, the kids, in my case, my kids, they have kind of their own office. We call it the study, but it's basically their playroom office space. All my boys have their own desk. And we were fortunate enough that we have 3 laptops, so that the 3 boys who are in school all have a laptop, and we basically run school. Every morning they would get their lessons, 8 o'clock in the morning, which is basically when they would start school. Anyway, we would get them all logged in on all of the laptops and get them started on their day's lessons. And they basically would work on their lessons until they were done with that day's lessons. And because our boys go to a really nice school with really high education standard, they gave us a metric fuck ton of work every single day. And so, it was a lot. Excuse me for all the yawning. I mentioned it's late. Or early, however you want to call it. But I'm just, life has gotten in the way. Yeah, I have to, and I don't want to bitch too much, because, absolutely first world problem.
Oh my God, I can't do my podcast. I can't do my podcast because of the quarantine, because of the lockdown.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I'm sitting here, and my biggest problem right now is that I can't do my podcast. Oh my God, lockdown. Because I'm still working. I've actually got a fuck ton of overtime, because we're really busy right now. Like I said, I've been out till 4 or 5 a.m. like every day. The bitch is getting up so that I can start the boys' school day at 8. But that's a whole other thing. But, my wife is working. She's not getting overtime, because since so much of her office is working from home, they're like, all right, well, now you guys, because they can't physically monitor everybody and making sure they're staying on task, they basically said, yeah, they used to have a rule where you were allowed to clock in a little bit early, 5 minutes early every day, so that you could boot up your computer and start up your systems and get everything logged in, so that when it was time for your shift to start, you were able to be able to start your work when your shift was supposed to start. So they gave them kind of this little pad, and it would ultimately result in 20-30 minutes of overtime every week if you just did all your hours. Well, since everybody's working from home and you can't monitor everybody and make sure they're actually fucking working when they're supposed to be working and they're staying on task and all that sort of shit, they told them all, no more of that. You're at home. You can just boot up your system on your own time. And so, basically, you got 40 hours on your schedule. You work your 40 hours. You're not getting overtime. And I guess in the first week, they made everybody who was used to logging in a little bit early and starting and punching in 5 minutes early so they could boot up and do all the things. They were like, yeah, you got to correct this. And their first Friday, it was like, yeah, all you guys got to punch out 20 minutes early because you worked all that extra, start time or whatever. But anyway, home work or working from home. No, yeah. But like I said, I can't complain too much. I really can't, because right now I'm working and my wife is working, and we're both, our paychecks haven't changed, and the boys are at home, and realistically we're kind of saving money because, it's kind of 50-50, and I don't know exactly how it's falling, but because it's one of those, we're not commuting, at least my wife's not commuting, and we have a very long commute. It's a 25 to 30 miles one way for my wife to go to work. And so that's a lot of miles on the car every day. Well, we're not doing that. We went from, I got to fill up the car every 3.5 to 4 days, to now it's about a week and a half on a tank of gas, which is great. It's wonderful. But it's kind of weird. And so we're not spending the money on gas. We're also spending a lot more money on food, because everybody's fucking home. And now I've basically become like my wife's personal chef for her lunches and things like that for work. Which is kind of funny, because there used to be a lot of times for her at work where they would we'd have an office thing and it's taco day, and they would go and order tacos. Excuse me. But they would go and order tacos, or they would go to this place and get lunch, or they'd order in from this place or that place or whatever, and they'd do that. But, it's limited cost for her to eat lunch at work, whatever. Versus now, I am responsible for making sure my wife has lunch every day. And, I know when her breaks are every day. And I can sit there and, come 11 o'clock every morning, I basically text my wife, or I'll go walk back to the office. And I've talked about the distance from, my office in the floor plan of the house. In the footprint of what our house is, my office is completely isolated in one corner of the house. It is not close to anything, so it is actually faster for me and more efficient for me to text my wife from the living room, hey, what do you want for lunch, than it is for me to get up and walk to the office. So, yeah, just about every day I text her, or I might just go in there, be nice, and be like, hey, so what are you thinking for lunch? So that I can sit there and get her lunch made. And yeah, and I have to kind of time it, because when she gets out for her lunch break at noon, she's out at noon. And so she's got to, I basically have to time it so that her lunch is ready to go when she walks out of the office, or very close therein. She's got time to go to the bathroom before I have her plate ready. But I basically, that's my weekdays now. I get up and I'm doing homeschool with the boys, and then I'm making lunch, and I'm doing all this other stuff, and planning dinner, which I have to do anyway. It's always been a planning dinner thing, but planning dinner, making sure the boys are doing their work for school, and I'm talking so much about the boys' school because it's been homeschool for the last 2 months basically, but this was actually their last week of class. Next week all they have are their, I would say, final exam, but it's their state benchmark tests, the standardized evaluation things. And so they've got that next week. Some of them they've already done, but for the most part, that's all they got for next week is just evaluations. But yeah, that's my day. Is a lot of that. And we've started doing some other stuff, and like I said, I'm saving it. I'm not going to talk about what other stuff we've got going on right now. Some social media stuff I've shared some of it, And I realize I've been like a damn ghost on social media. I'm doing next to nothing. Because, well, I'm busy, mostly. It's just been so much going on at home, and the homeschool distance learning crap is just sucking so much out of me. And my wife and I have had a lot of discussions about what's it going to look like next year. You know, I'm in the, you know, we've learned a lot, and it's going to be one of those things that, you know, in 3-4 months or whatever, schools are going to open up. I think the schools were going to open back up, but to what degree? And I've kind of been of the mind of there are going to be some people, and I'm one of them, where I feel that I feel safe sending my kids to school in the fall, back to normal school. And I feel like the schools are going to institute policies and practices and procedures that, you know, instituting social distancing guidelines, and everybody's going to be cleaning the ever-living shit out of everything. And if you think your teachers asked for a lot of Clorox wipes and sanitizer last year, just wait. But I think there's going to be a lot more of disinfecting classrooms and cleanliness and sanitation and things like that for the schools to enable students to go back to school on a somewhat normal level. At the same time, there's going to be a lot of parents, like my wife, that's why we've had these discussions, who don't necessarily feel comfortable sending their kids back to school yet. And I know there are some people who are, I'm not leaving my house until there's a vaccine. And it's to a degree, I think that's a little overboard, strictly on the basis of vaccines take a long fucking time. And if you're not coming out, you're basically, you know, turning into Hermit the Hermit. That. Okay, sidebar. There's something I'll get more in depth with later once I can figure out a regular recording schedule. But I recently got my teeth redone, so I am currently working and talking on new dentures. And again, it's 4 in the morning, and I'm a lot more slurry and whistly than normal. You may have noticed. That's in part because I'm wearing new dentures, and they don't totally fit just right yet. So I'm a little more slushy. Is that a word, slushy? Anyway, so that's why I'm fumbling words more so than I normally fumble words. But yeah, it's really rough being a hermit for potentially 12 to 18 months waiting on a vaccine. And so I don't know if that's necessarily the best, but I'm not about to judge you for doing it, because maybe you're immunocompromised and you cannot fucking go out until there is some sort of a certainty of your safety. So I'm not going to judge you for that. You know, like I said, I'm willing to believe that everybody has basically gotten where we know a lot. I mean, we don't know everything, but we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about how we need to behave and the things we need to do in order to reintegrate with society. And we know there are things we have to change and things we have to do in order to make something like school and something resembling normal school possible. And so, like I said, I think there's going to be changes. There's going to be smaller class sizes. And there's going to be more sanitation and a lot of changes. But there's still going to be plenty of people who aren't going to send their kids to school, who aren't going to feel comfortable until we know that we're kind of through this. And I mean, ultimately, we're never going to be through it, because diseases don't go away. They just don't. We develop treatments, we develop kind of herd immunity and things like that, and a whole lot of buzzwords and a whole lots of other things. But, diseases don't go away completely. We thought measles went away. And then the anti-vaxxers happened, and, fucking measles came back because fucking anti-vaxxers were fucking idiots. Fight me. But, there's going to be just, I don't know, my brain side tangented it into fucking anti-vaxxers, and now all I can think is fucking anti-vaxxer idiot measles were almost gone. Things like, technically smallpox still exists because there are places that don't have vaccinations. But anyway, diseases don't go away. It's going to be like, the new normal is going to be maybe you get a corona shot when you get your flu shot. Maybe it's part of the seasonal flu shot is, you've got H1N1 and you've got corona in there, and you've got all the fucking, you got bird flu and swine flu and common cold or whatever, and fucking COVID all mixed up in your flu shot margarita or whatever the fuck cocktail. See, margarita. I knew I was somewhat right. Your flu shot cocktail that they're giving you. But yeah, wouldn't that be a fucking kicker that you get your vaccine margarita, you just sit there and pound some, green slush, and now you're, vaccinated. But, the new normal is going to be treatments. It's going to be this is kind of a part of life. It's another thing you can contract. Just like anything else you can fucking catch. Just like, there's lots of things you can just get. And I think this is after things settle down. This is going to just be another thing you can get. But I don't want to dwell on that because it is a touchy subject. But, things are going to change. Some things will go back to quote unquote normal. A lot of people get really butthurt when you talk about things being quote unquote normal. But really, and I'm not saying I'm not one of those people that's we need to open up everything and go back to the way it used to was. Like, I wear a mask when I go out of the house. Like, why? Because it's like, I'm not sick. My kids aren't sick. My wife, for the most part, my wife and kids have not left the house since lockdown began. The only time anybody besides myself, because I have to leave the house for work, the only time anybody leaves the house besides me is Damien's had a couple of dentist appointments. And then when we made the trip to go get my wife's equipment for her to work from home. That's it. That is the only time since lockdowns began in April, which was just after it was after my anniversary and after Valentine's Day and the whole story with Damien's tooth getting knocked out. That's been, a big thing, is the treatment for his tooth. Again, more stories to tell. But, that's it. That's the only other time anybody's left the house, was for his dentist appointments. I'm doing all the shopping. I still have to leave the house for work. But that's it. That's, everybody else in the house completely isolated for the last 2 months. They're not sick. Like, mathematically speaking, they couldn't possibly be. But, and again, we have masks for everybody. If anybody were to leave the house, everybody's got a mask. I wear a mask when I go out. It's a courtesy, it's a precaution, it's a just in case. It's what you do. I'm being careful. But I'm also not freaking out, paranoid, afraid I'm going to catch the COVID. I'm not overly concerned with it. But I am being cautious. Because, just in case. Because, what's it hurt to wear a mask when you go out? It's not hurting anything. I'm going shopping. I'm, keeping my distance from people. I'm not being crazy with like going shopping and, oh my God, there's people in this aisle. I can't go down this aisle. And if I do that, it's more for others' benefit than mine. But I'm still just like, I'm, I worked in restaurants for over 10 years. So I was a pretty adamant hand washer anyway. And because I work with chemicals and things, cleaning floors and things like that, I stayed an avid hand washer because I don't want that shit on my hands. So I think like ultimately it's, good cleaning and sanitation practices. And yeah, maybe wear a mask and don't fucking leave the house when you're coughing and sneezing and shit. And hey guys, sometimes it's just allergies. I promise it's just allergies. And I know Lisa and Sam wanted to make a shirt that I think in a recent episode they were joking about wanting to add a shirt to their merch shop, something along the lines of "It's not COVID, I just have allergies," which I need to get on that. I want to make that shirt for them. I again just don't have access to my computer to sit there and kind of work it out. But I didn't intend on spending this whole time talking about COVID stuff, but it's one of those like, where have I been? Where have I been for the last 2 months? Which, if you did listen to the end of the last episode, I did say, I don't know when the next episode's going to be. And realistically, I do think coming up in the next, coming into the summer, once the boys are completely done with school and all that stuff, I'll have regular access to a laptop. I may end up getting a new laptop because right now the one I've got to work with kind of sucks. And one of our other laptops died, and it's just been a whole fucking thing. So I may be getting a new laptop, which may allow me to record from other than in my studio. It may allow me to do editing work, which, I still have clients for podcast editing that I do have to get work done, and that it's tricky to finagle the time. But, that is what it is. I got to do what I got to do. But I may be getting a new laptop. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think my mind is more scrambled than it normally would be sitting down to record. As scrambled as my thoughts normally are when I'm talking to you, I understand that right now I'm even more scrambly because it's fucking, minutes from dawn because it's Arizona in May and the sun comes up at like 5:30. The sun's up before 6 o'clock or some shit like that. So I'm probably, if I was actually paying attention, I probably could have seen the, sun starting to peak up over the horizon as I was driving home. And I know I need to wrap things up because I'm sitting in my garage now because I didn't wrap things up before. And forgive me if the mic has been rubbing on my shirt. I don't know where it's sitting. I think hopefully if I spaced it right, my mic has been sitting inside my mask hanging off my neck this whole time. But I realize I move a lot, and driving and looking for traffic and stuff, I move a lot more. So I'm sure the mic was not in a good position. And again, my voice is very slushy and whistly and yawning and coughing and blah, 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 blah and all this stuff. But I just, like I said, I didn't intend on talking Corona the whole time, but it was very much a how have I been update. What's going on with me? And maybe I'll swap all this out. Probably not, because every time I say I'm going to do some shit like that, I don't. I just don't. Just like I don't have artwork for this. Why? Because I don't have time. Well, because I was driving home and decided, hey, fuck, I'm just going to fucking, drive home and talk to you because I miss you. That's it. That is really it. I did all this and all my rambling and my driving home, and I fear for how bad this sounds. And I'm sorry because I can't help it under the circumstances. But I miss podcasting. I miss talking to you every week and sharing all of my bullshit. And, and, I know things like I have been really thin on podcast recommendations in the last few months. Well, besides the 2 months where I haven't had a show out. But I know I've been really thin on podcast recommendations. I hadn't listened to anything really new. A lot of stuff had been slowing down, and I've been busy, and I hadn't had any recommendations. And I've been kind of sitting on some that I didn't want to say because I was like, oh, I want to get the thing from her, and I want to talk to the people, and all the blah, 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 and I didn't do the things. And so, but all that to say, I have been listening to some new shows, and there's some new stuff I've been checking out, which is pretty cool. And so I'll have some new podcasts that I want to talk about and update you on some other stuff we've got going on. And maybe my wife will join the show. I've got guests I need to talk to. I want to do more guests, and it's one of those, like, I still contemplate, do I spin guests off into a whole different thing, because it is a whole different dynamic of, especially where the show kind of is now, with more of the at-home life bit that I tend to focus on more now. But I don't know. I got to see where guests really fit into the whole dynamic of everything with, because I can really change up the show going forward, because fuck, it's been 2 months. I can start everything new with this weird effect thing I found on my phone, but I probably won't. I'll probably go back to the old music. But, I've got stuff to talk about. I may or may not bring back the news. I've had requests to bring back the news. So I don't know. Just got to see what I'm going to do. I think that's it. I got to see what I'm going to do going forward. I've got to get back to my normal. And I think that's the big thing, is my normal is me being able to sit down and record a podcast every week and take care of my kids and cook and clean and do all this stuff and take care of the house. So I need to get back to something resembling my normal. But while I'm working on that, at least you have this rambly bullshit that I've just given you the last half hour. And, if I don't want you to share this episode with your friends. I really don't. Because you know what? I know it fucking sucks. I'm sorry. I know this sucks. I know it sounds like crap. I know I'm more rambly than usual, and I've been yawning and coughing and mic moving around and all the bullshit. But I missed you. I know I said this before. I just missed you. And I missed sharing all of my random bullshit with you for the last few months, when I've had so much shit going on, and I just I gotta share it, but I can't. But I'm here. So, I'm gonna stop, because like I said, I've been sitting here in my garage for the last few minutes because I didn't know how to end the show. Other than saying, hey, okay, I'm home, bye. Be fucking rude if I just ended that. But, yeah, I think I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to give you any spiel this time. I'm just going to say, if you're listening, thank you. If you've stuck around through this whole indefinite hiatus, thank you. I'm not going to say right now that you can expect another episode next week. I'm not going to say when, or because I don't know. I've got work to do. I've got home work. I've got work. I've got podcast, business, work. I've got, keeping my kids from killing each other and driving us batshit crazy. Work. I've got all this, to do. And I got to figure out a way to make the show under the current circumstances that's better than me on my headset driving home from work, because it just sounds like crap. But yeah, a lot of stuff going forward. So I don't know when the next show is going to be. Hopefully not 2 months from now. But like I said, I missed you and I wanted to jump on here and give you kind of an update with me and let you listen to my soothing pipes. Now, I realize I sound like crap right now. My teeth are all slushy and I'm slurry and whistly and all that jazz. And learning to talk and edit my voice with new teeth, it's going to be a whole new thing trying to get my whistles out of the show once I'm back in the studio. But, okay, I've been vamping about how to end the show for the last 3 minutes. So like I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm just going to say thank you again. And I appreciate you. I really do. You're awesome. Anybody out there who's listening to my rambly bullshit, who didn't tune out after like 30 seconds of what the fuck is he driving? What's this bullshit? Thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you putting up with any of my bullshit ever. And I will be back when I can be, hopefully sooner rather than later, with all the shit that's been going on. Because like I said, I got so much I need to tell you that we've been doing. So many projects, so much stuff happening, so many stories I've got to share, so many new podcasts that I've been listening to. So I will be back. And I'll have stuff to tell you about. Wow. That feels inappropriate to sneeze that loud under the current circumstances. Sorry about that. Well, I'm going to go disinfect the car now. And then get some sleep. But until next time, my oddballs, I love you. And good night.